Hello! With this video I would like to show you the new functionality that we just published with the Just Planet December release. My name is Elmar Karlovic and I'm Managing Director and co-owner of Netronic Software. And let's have an overview and have a look what we have done with the new December sprint. So first I was separating this into actually 4 chapters, and this is also the structure of my video. So first we will see how we in general enhance the look and feel of the application, and here mainly focusing on the Gantt chart views. Second, we try to give you some new functionality to better understand and more easily understand your schedule. Then also we focused on navigation, and here we tried to also give you some new functionality to enhance the navigation within Just Planet. And last but not least, we now also provide printing and exporting functionality to you. Okay, so this is the overview, and let's start off with how we first in general enhance the look and feel. And for that, let's have a look into Just Planet. So, and here actually what you see is the Just Planet user interface. And in general, of course, we didn't fully redesign, but let's see what's new. So first of all, now I have expanded a job in the job view, and let's focus your attention on the coloring of the bars. So the bars, of course, visualize an operation, and now you can see that if an operation begins somewhere in the productive area, goes into a non-productive time window, and then is finished here, in my example, on the next Monday. So now all these parts of a bar that fall into a non-working area are fully marked in gray. And this is true for all color schemes. As you can see here, it's all gray, or if we just scroll down a bit into my schedule, then you can see that the non-productive areas now are kept in gray. And with this, we wanted to have a clearer and calmer picture. Before, this was also colored in relation to the coloring of the main operation or the main bar, and now this leads overall to a clearer picture with less colors, so that you can focus on the aspect you really want to focus on. Then let's have a look into the table part in here. Here now you can see that you are able to insert very, very many digits of the job. So here even is still some real estate, and this we could achieve by removing the icons for editing, copying and deleting the job line that was formerly still to be found here in the job line. This was removed, but the functionality is still given, because what you just need to do is use your right mouse and you will directly find the edit, copy and delete functionality as you are used to it just now in the right mouse menu, and not anymore in the job line, just to enable you to insert a longer and more speaking identifier for your job. So if you go to edit, you can see all remains the same as you are used to it. Then let's keep it with the table part here. Also, new functionality is that you are able now to drag and drop the width of the columns. So here now this is also flexible, and if you are used to having long names for the tasks, or if you want to fully see the resources, all good, because what you can do, you can also expand, and the application is following this new setting in here. So also if you leave the application even, or here in my example now I just switch the views. So if I'm going back, then you will see this is still the setting how you have been dragging and dropping it. So that is not fixed anymore. Here you can now flexibly choose the setting in terms of columns as you prefer it. Okay, last but not least, what we changed also in terms of visualization, look and feel, is how you now reckon the setup and teardown time. And therefore I move to a resource-centric view, and let's focus on like this Wednesday here. And here now, like this combo task of worker 6 and 7, here you can realize that I have got like a 60 minutes setup time and a 60-minute teardown time. So it is not the triangular way of showing these detailed times, but we want to remain it also in a bar style, and this bar has not the same height. It is slightly less high than the process time, so that you are still able to reckon, but that you are better able to realize the real start and real end of the operation, because it starts with, you know, the start of the setup and it ends with the end of the teardown. Let's now see what we did in terms of making the schedule understand more easy. So again, let's switch to the application, and here now we have, as you might have realized before, now an additional column here in the job view, and this is the same in the resource-centric views, and this is also the same in the Gantt chart views of the execute module. But now let's focus first on the job view. So what we do see here is obviously a new urgent job that I have just recently and fully newly created. And this B here at the very left, you can see my cursor. This is indicating that this new job has no baseline yet. And we have realized, you know, that some of you guys tend to forget to use the baseline functionality. And this now shall force you to be reminded to set the baseline. And if you would just set the baseline by updating the job baseline in here, and once I do that and set the baseline, then you will see that this B directly disappears. So now I know, okay, I've set the baseline. And as a matter of fact, just set the baseline when you are fully sure that, you know, the schedule as you could see it at that dedicated point of time is really mirroring what you want to freeze in as an initial plan. And with that B, you are definitely reminded of if something is missing in that regard. Second, we have got a new symbol also in the job view, and that relates to that sometimes, you know, if you have got a planning horizon that is not allowing the application to entirely schedule every operation, then you will also get an alert. So what I will do here now in settings, I will decrease my planning horizon just to force the application, you know, to reschedule on the one hand side. On the other hand side, the result will be that some of my jobs won't be scheduled. And here you can see, so like from line 52, job with sequence number 52, I get this exclamation mark that says, be aware that here in my case now, starting from task 50, the operation could not be scheduled, and therefore the job is not entirely scheduled. And that is true for the rest then also with the bonding and finishing here, and so on and so on. So like if I would reset this again to like almost a year of planning horizon, then you will see that also this warning disappears. And I guess that is really a cool feature, in that symbol column here that will both, you know, show you if a baseline is missing or if your schedule or the operations of your schedule couldn't be fully scheduled, and therefore, you know, some of the residual process times are 0. So then you will directly get an understanding why this is the fact. Furthermore, we also have got some other symbols, and these symbols you know already. So that's the symbol here. That yellow circle indicates that there is a resource constraint. So there's a resource constraint on worker 3 for my welding. And this is now on the bar. Formerly an app that was kind of a little icon on the top of the bar. Here now we just put it inside the bar. Plus we have the indication in the job line, so that even if the job is not, you know, fully shown in the gunshot area, you know, okay, I've got here a task line with a resource constraint. And this square here in that light blue color indicates that there is a task constraint. So this resource constraint is a task constraint, and last but not least we also have a time constraint. The time constraint formerly was shown as a bracket. Now we have got this flag symbol, and if there is even a time distance between, you know, the point of time where you have set the time constraint to the scheduled start, you know, you get this dotted line here that you can fully get, you know, the reference between the initial constraint and the scheduled task. And this symbol you also find now in the symbols line here. So that is the symbol line, which we do have also, as I said, in the resource-centric views. And if I'm now switching to one of the resource-centric views, let's go to the resource view here. So like here, if you expand, e.g. the worker 3, so then you can just directly also see the symbols here in the symbols line, as well as on the bars itself again. Okay, so this is it all about, and I guess I do not need to show this in the execute tab. Here it is just different symbols, because like the symbols there focus on, you know, what's relevant when looking into the topic of setting shop floor data and approving it. So like here we have got the symbols that indicate, okay, missing feedback and so on and so on, but following the totally same method. Next on the list, in terms of making the schedule understand more easily, is that we now enable you to color and categorize calendar exceptions. So let's do that. Let's stay with that resource-centric view, and now here also right mouse click to get the edit dialog. And now I'm going to calendar exception, and now let's make a vacation for worker 2. So as you know, vacation always is no work time, so let's make a nice Christmas vacation for worker 2 starting the 19th and ending, okay, end of the year. I leave the work time blank. Here you can still give the note, so let's go Merry Christmas. And now what's new is that we have the category. So the category here now enables you to select from the most typical events that can pop up in terms of extra or downtimes. And let's give it a vacation here, and if you choose the vacation, everything is fine. You click on OK, and now of course you know, then automatic scheduling takes over and is adding the exception. But now see what happens. So now you got a colored time window. Before it was just like fully kept in gray so that you haven't been really able to spot and identify the exception within the Gantt chart. But now you can directly see that there is an exception, and if I'm hovering over that, so you also get a tooltip that says, okay, that is a vacation, and you get the description and the work time, which is none in this case. And I guess that really is a nice feature, you know, to easily identify if something in your calendar is, you know, different than the standard, which, by the way, is always also shown, you know, in the Gantt chart views. You get, you know, once the worker 2 is some resource that has been assigned to a task, then in the respective line you will also see, you know, the vacation accordingly. And next nice option that you get with that feature is if you go to the settings, and in the settings you have got the option to just also choose your colors that are related to these categories. So here you can see the default settings. So the sick leave gets an orange, the maintenance a red, miscellaneous is getting the former gray, extra time, as it is more than the standard, gets green, vacation is yellow. We have seen that. But you're fully free, you know, to just change these default colors. And by the way, you're fully free to even add as many categories with other colors to that. So here you can also delete if that is maybe too many options for you. So you are fully free how you want to handle these categories of coloring and making use of calendar exceptions. Okay, so this is concerning calendar exceptions. Then let's come to the next feature. So you guys maybe remember that with the August release, we have been focusing on, you know, providing a dialog that should easily enable, you know, to have some kind of mass updating, like here with the job dialog or the task dialog. So it's kind of a task list where you can really make multiple changes at one go. So this is one thing, making multiple changes. But sometimes, you know, you also want to see, you know, the impact on making the changes at you know, as many data as the Gantt chart is, you know, offering you. And in beforehand, I'm pretty sure that, you know, you have been maybe working a bit with a zoom or whatever, but now instead of, you know, zooming in and out with that slider here permanently, what we now provide is what we call the compact lines. So the compact lines, if I activate, you know, will narrow the lines of jobs and resources. So if I'm clicking that, you will see what happens. So now I've activated the compact lines and it's still the same zoom, but now the real estate between the lines here are definitely reduced and optimized so that you get really a lot of job lines in the same view in comparison to the normal setting. So this enables you here in this case to see 35 jobs instead of, I guess it was 15. So that is really a cool feature, you know, if you just want to spot as many data, as many job lines as possible. And of course, the compact lines, once you have activated that via the icon in the settings, you know, also is true for the resource-centric views as the resource view here, as well. That was a resource group view, sorry, as well as the resource group. So that is the compact lines. Here, what we wanted to provide is giving you the possibilities, you know, to bundle the information as much as we can. Okay, so this is the compact lines. Once again, going to settings, and in the settings, the compact lines is here that line icon. Now, if I reactivate, then you can see that's the difference between the standard and going back to the resource, the job view here. So that's the job view without without compact lines. Sorry. Okay. Then next feature that helps you to understand your schedule better. So we have been looking at baselines. Now we have got functionality to remind you of setting the baseline. Now, as you set the baseline, it would be cool also that you could better make use of it. So like the standard way of using the baseline was formerly just totally focused on exporting data and then making deviation analysis from there. Or also, you know, if you guys have our production excellence dashboard, then there's also, as a matter of fact, functionality where you can like continuously or ongoingly spot the difference between the baseline and as is schedule values. But so far, nothing in the Gantt chart was enabling you to do so. And this has changed now, because what we also provide now is this B icon here. And if you press the B icon, what happens then is that in the job view, you might have seen that now already, in the job view, you will get the possibility also to visualize the baseline. And the baseline is visualized by kind of bars that come along like these underscores here. So like here with the P0001, you can see that it is fully on track, it is fully on the baseline, while the P02 has left the baseline. So like here you can see the baseline values as these gray underscores, and you can see the big difference between baseline values and as is values. And this is true for every operation of every job in the job line. Now you will see the baseline in comparison to the as is values directly in the Gantt chart view. Okay, hopefully you like the features of, you know, that second category, and let's move on with the third. Okay guys, third category, enhancing the navigation in the JustPlanet application. So let's move back to JustPlanet. And I guess you guys know the killer feature before was zooming in and out in JustPlanet. You hover with the mouse or the cursor over the time scale, and once you're with the cursor over the time scale, you've been able to zoom in and out via mouse wheel, right? So like right now I'm using my mouse wheel scrolling up, I'm zooming in. Once I'm scrolling down with my mouse wheel, I zoom out. So that's definitely, that's a really intuitive and cool feature. But we learned that also customers were just zooming in via selecting the time frame, then left mouse clicking and zooming in by the click. But formerly there was no functionality to zoom out again, also via mouse click. So you were forced to use the mouse wheel. So that's different now. So that this little gap we closed by this triangle symbol. You see that arrow up? So if I'm clicking in there, then this helps me to zoom out via clicking. So if I'm zooming in, then I'm able to zoom out again. So that's not the biggest deal of the release, but it is still closing like a tiny gap of, let's call it gap of inconsistency. So now you are able to also zoom out by clicking. Let's have the next feature in terms of navigation, and I guess that is like, that might be of more interest. So now, okay, next feature in terms of navigation is following. So right now I'm somewhere here in my schedule, and let's move it up. So now I'm at top left of my schedule, and I just want to spot my entire schedule in terms of conflicts, and directly if I'm able to spot a conflict in terms of, here in this case, a delay, I directly want to jump to that delayed job. So for such navigation interactions, we now provide the world view. The world view you can see by this, or you find here in understand settings, understand schedule, with that globe icon. And once you click on that, you can see that the lower part here of your application now shows what we call the world view. So that's a total overview into the entire schedule as it is shown, in the main Gantt chart that you have been in before you activated the world view. So, and with that cursor here, you are able now to navigate, through your entire schedule and see in the upper part, it is, showing live the interaction. So it is live showing where you are navigating to. So like here, it's easy to directly spot, okay, this obviously is a conflict and we have another conflict here and we have a conflict here. Okay, I'm deciding to go with that conflict. Clicking somewhere else outside the world view directly leaves you at exactly that point you have been navigating to via the world view. Is that cool? So then same is of course true if you go to the resource centric views, and if you go here again to the world view, same is true. So like here you can just scroll or move, navigate through the entire schedule, and once you found where you want to leave, just click outside and your navigation is done very easily. So the world view definitely gives you a very good understanding on one hand side about the entire schedule. On the other hand side, it gives you a very, very good option to directly hop out and find exactly the place you want to further focus in via the main Gantt charts. So last but not least, we now also provide an option for you to print the Gantt charts. And this is done via exporting Gantt charts to PDF, and then you can print it from there. And how that works, I'm going to show you now. And therefore, switching back to Just Planet, and let's stay with this resource-centric view here. So, and now let's assume we want to print out the entire schedule we have. So like everything I have got in here, out of the perspective of the resource group view, I want to print out and want to make kind of a wallpaper that I stick together so that I have got like a huge paper that fully shows me my schedule as of now. And what I do here then is navigating to report, clicking on the printer, and this opens the printing or export to PDF dialog. So you can choose then the page format. I always keep it with a A4, so that's kind of the European standard. So then what you can select is the page orientation, either landscape or portrait. So here this also might be changed with some scaling settings, but I'm explaining that to you in a minute. So currently I leave it with the landscape. So then what you can select is if the table parts should be repeated on all pages that come out, or if not, and if you leave that, as you can see here, without the box checked, it means that you will stick together the parts as I explained to get kind of one wallpaper that shows the table part on the left hand side, and actually the Gantt chart totally in the same way you would expect it as it is shown in the Gantt chart views. So then time window, the default setting always starts off with the planning start. So the red planning start line marks by default what you can see here as the start date, and the end date always is defined by the scheduled end of the latest task. That avoids that you print out like huge areas of the planning horizon which maybe do not even have a workload. So then we're coming to the scaling, and this is important. There is a maximum of 20 pages that you can export. So that means if you would have a huge schedule, then it will zoom down accordingly so that it fits onto 20 pages. And what you define is how you want to spend your 20 pages in a horizontal and vertical way. So in my example, you have seen I've got not too many resources and resource groups in my sample data. So I would not need too many pages in a vertical way. And if I go for the landscape, I keep it with 2. And from the horizontal way, I now say it's 5. So that ends in 10 pages, but that would be more than sufficient. The page margin I left with a default of 10 millimeters, so that I can easily stick them together if they come out. So now what I will do, I'm exporting, and now the application takes over and will export the Gantt chart that you have selected into a PDF file in the way you defined it. And as you can see here, you will need to bring a bit of patience. So like one page takes a while, but this functionality is not foreseen, and this is definitely what I recommend, that you print out the Gantt charts several times a day. I would even not recommend to print it several times a week, but that's fully up to you. My recommendation is if there are really big decisions to make, and if you really want to have like fundamental decisions which way to go, then it can help that you print that out and that you look at it at this wallpaper kind of style. But I wouldn't recommend it to do that regularly, as in my opinion the plan is so dynamic and it changes like daily so many times, and printing out means the minute you have printed it out, the possibility is given, that it has been actualized by one of your operators or planners, even in the meantime. But now, let's have a look into what's coming out. You can see at the top, at the bottom here, I got a PDF file, and if I'm open the PDF, so then I can see I got now 5 pages. I've got the timescale on top, and here this is my resources, and if I'm scrolling down, so then I can see, this goes horizontally and vertically. Actually it is not going vertically, so I am getting like everything on one page in terms of the resources, and it's just going into the future. But you can stick it together and have got, in my case now here, a wallpaper made of 5 pages. But in the same I need to explain, what is printed out is always what is shown in the Gantt chart. So if I would now expand it here, then this additional task lines would be also shown in the printout. And in that regard, my recommendation would be never expand task lines in the resource-centric view, and in my eyes, not necessarily also in the job view. So in the job view, it is working totally the same. What you would expand is shown, and also the resolution of the time scale is, what is shown as a matter of fact in the printout. So what you select here in the Gantt chart later on marks the reference to be shown in the PDF. So let's do now like this kind of resolution, and now I make a printout for my entire schedule now out of the perspective of the job view. For this, I'm now switching to the portraits, because I definitely need also some space going down. Let's now make it with a 4 down and 5 horizontal, and this will now take a bit, as this potentially can lead to 20 pages, which is the max. But just want to show the performance of this to you here, and the nice thing is that we get the progress, so the application will tell you how many pages currently have been exported, so that you still know, you know, the remaining time, and that you can see that there's something in progress. And while this is exporting, I just want to come back to my recommendation. So nice feature, you know, for fundamental and significant decisions, but not for like the daily usage. Furthermore, it can also be used, you know, if you want once a while, if you want to save schedules also at dedicated points of times, you know, that you can have kind of a little archive to see how your plan evolved, can also be very interesting. Yeah, that's what I recommend. You know, I guess you guys realize I'm definitely a fan of having a live schedule on a screen that is just showing the current schedule rather than permanently printing. So printing is nice, but not for daily usage in my eyes. But in the end, it always refers to the use case. And as you know, you're in the driver's seat. You can just make your own fundamental decisions. So here now you can see, so this is now coming along with really a lot of like 20 pages that you then can puzzle together to have your entire schedule out of the perspective of the job view. Okay guys, actually this was my video showing you the new functionality of the December release. The December release was tough. It took us, to be honest, a bit more time than we initially estimated. We thank you for your patience, for waiting for that. Hopefully you are as excited about the new features. I just want to motivate to give some feedback, what you like. Maybe you have got new ideas, maybe you didn't like something. So as you know, we always, you know, are very interested in getting to know any of your feedback. Furthermore, what I want to do is I want to wish you like Merry Christmas days, have a happy start in the new year, and I'm really looking forward to like talking and chatting to you guys in 2022. Have a good time. See you then. Bye bye.